Have you ever seen a debate stage set, the speakers ready, and then nothing? That's exactly what happened at the Oxford Union in what was supposed to be a fiery showdown between India and Pakistan. The topic was a zinger. This house believes that India's response to Pakistan is a populist strategy sold as security policy. But instead of a debate, we go a full-blown international blame game. So, what really went down? Let's unravel this mess. The story unfolds like a political thriller. On one side, we have Indian lawyer J Sai Deepak, who was all set to argue India's case. On the other, a high-level Pakistani delegation, including former Foreign Minister Hina Rabbani Kar and former Defence Minister Khawaja Mohammad Asif. The prestigious Oxford Union was the venue. But just hours before the debate was scheduled to start on November 27th, the whole thing fell apart, leading to a war of words on social media that was arguably more intense than the debate would have been. Let's start with the Indian side's version of events, led by J Sai Deepak. He posted a detailed account on X, and it paints a picture of chaos and what he calls a deliberate Pakistani gambit. According to Deepak, the trouble began long before the day of the debate. He pointed out that key positions at the Oxford Union were held by Pakistani nationals, including the president, Musa Harai, whom he alleged is the son of Pakistan's Minister of Defence Production. This, he suggested, set a questionable stage from the start. Then there was a last-minute scramble. The original, high-profile Indian speakers, former Army Chief General Naravane and Dr. Subramanian Swamy, had to pull out just 2 days before the event due to unavoidable commitments. This left a huge void. Deepak, who was already involved, stepped up and managed to rally a new team from within the UK, bringing on board Manu Kojuria and pundit Satish K. Sharma. They were ready to go, despite the incredibly short notice. Now, here's where it gets really dramatic. On the day of the debate, at 3:13 p.m., Deepak says he received a call. The message. The Pakistani delegation, including Hina Rabbani Kar, hadn't even landed in London yet. It seemed pointless to travel all the way to Oxford for a debate that had no opposition, but the plot thickens. A little while later, Deepak claims he received confirmation that the Pakistani delegation had, in fact, landed and was already checked into a hotel in Oxford. This revelation completely changed the narrative for him. He was furious. He took to X and accused the Pakistani side of deserting the battlefield even before the battle begins. He suggested they simply lacked the courage to face a live, unscripted debate against a prepared Indian team. He didn't just stop at criticizing the Pakistani speakers. He also slammed the Oxford Union's leadership, accusing them of allowing the historic institution to be dragged in muck and effectively becoming a mouthpiece for the Pakistan High Commission. Adding to this chorus was Shiv Sena UBT lawmaker Priyanka Chaturvedi. She didn't mince words, tweeting, "Pakistan is crying again over an Oxford Union debate. This is for the record. Once again, they have proved to be liars." Expecting any better from them was not even on my list. Her post amplified the Indian narrative that Pakistan had intentionally dodged the confrontation. So, you have a clear picture from the Indian perspective. Last minute, speaker changes, conflicting information about the Pakistani team's arrival, and a final accusation of a deliberate no-show. It sounds like a calculated move to avoid a tough debate. But hold on, because there are two sides to every story. Let's flip the coin and look at what the Pakistan High Commission in London had to say. Their version is, unsurprisingly, the complete opposite. They released a formal statement expressing their deep regret over the situation. But, in their telling, the villains were the Indians. The statement claimed that the Indian delegation and they made sure to name the originally scheduled big names like General Naravane and Dr. Swamy had withdrawn at the last minute. According to Pakistan's statement, this withdrawal handed their side a walkover. They framed the entire incident as a reflection of India's lack of confidence. They suggested that the Indian side was unwilling to defend its security policies in what they called a neutral and intellectually rigorous debate at a world-renowned forum. So, in their eyes, it wasn't a Pakistani no-show. It was an Indian forfeit. They were there, ready to debate, but their opponents backed out. This creates a classic, she said scenario, but on a diplomatic scale. You have to completely contradictory accounts of the same event. J Sai Deepak says he was told the Pakistanis hadn't arrived, only to find out later they were already in Oxford. The Pakistan High Commission says the Indians withdrew. Who are you supposed to believe? The truth likely lies somewhere in the murky details of phone calls, travel schedules, and last-minute decisions. What's undeniable is that the Oxford Union, a place famous for hosting some of the most important intellectual discussions in history, ended up at the center of a rather embarrassing public squabble. Instead of a thoughtful debate on a serious geopolitical issue, the world got a front row seat to a farcical breakdown in communication and a subsequent online mudslinging match. The core of the issue seems to be a total failure of organization and communication. Was the Oxford Union leadership, as Deepak alleges, compromised or simply incompetent in handling such a high-stakes event? Why was there so much confusion about the Pakistani delegation's travel plans? Was there a deliberate act of sabotage from one side, or was it just a cascade of unfortunate errors and miscommunications? This incident goes beyond just a cancelled university debate. It's a microcosm of the deep-seated mistrust and rivalry between India and Pakistan. Even in a neutral academic setting, the two sides couldn't come together for a structured conversation. The fact that it devolved so quickly into public accusations of lying and cowardice shows just how fraught the relationship is. The debate topic itself about whether India's security policy is genuine or just populist posturing is a sensitive one. And the way the event collapsed almost seems to prove the point that rational discourse is incredibly difficult to achieve. In the end, no one came out looking good. The Indian side felt cheated out of a chance to present their case. The Pakistani side was accused of cowardice, and the Oxford Union's reputation took a hit. The only clear winner was the online world of hot takes and outrage. It's a shame, because a genuine, robust debate on this topic would have been fascinating to watch. Instead, we're left with a bizarre story of a debate that never was, filled with accusations, counter-accusations, and a lot of unanswered questions. What do you think really happened? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown interesting, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. See you next time.